This happened a couple years ago, but some of our mutual friends still think I was the idiot in this situation, so I thought I would submit myself to judgment. I was living with and discussing marriage with a girl I'd been dating for around 3 years. She went off on a school trip around the end of February or beginning of March, and when she came back, things seemed off. It was just little things, like she started texting love you instead of love you and stuff like that. I finally asked her what the deal was around the end of April, and we ended up taking a break. I moved out, but we still hung out almost every day, still went on dates, still made love. I had bought her a new cell phone around the time she got back, an LG V10, believe it or not this is important. Around the end of May or so, the phone malfunctions and boot loops endlessly, as they are known to do. She gives it to me so I can try to warranty it or something to get some of my money back while she buys herself a new phone. I did some research and discovered that the boot loop could be temporarily bypassed by freezing the phone, so I decided to give it a shot so I can try to pull her pictures and stuff off and generally just try to win some good guy points. It works, and as soon as I boot it up she starts getting messages from David. Lots of messages, of the not so innocent variety. I pop open the messages to see that they go back all the way to her school trip. She's been seeing this guy in secret for months, both before and after our break, while also giving me the runaround and acting like we're on the verge of getting back together. It's also clear that he doesn't know about me at all. Every time he tries to make plans with her while we were doing something, she was just making excuses like spending time with family. I shoot him a few texts, tell him who I am, that I just discovered I was being lied to, and that I suspected he was being lied to as well. Turns out he was recently divorced because his wife had been cheating, and he was horrified to discover that he had been the other guy. Long story short, we both washed our hands of her and went our separate ways, but literally every female I know has told me that it was not my place to tell him and that I should have left well enough alone. I even had to leave my job because the women there ostracized me so heavily because of it. The way I see it, he deserved the truth and I helped him dodge a major bullet before it could hurt him as it hurt me. Clearly, she was the idiot for cheating, but am I the idiot for exposing it? Not the idiot. I'd never let somebody get cheated on if I could help it, and it serves her right for cheating on you. Anyone who says you shouldn't have meddled in their business doesn't realize that it's your business too if she is lying to you, and if you didn't say anything she would have gotten away with it and probably went on to hurt that guy who's already been hurt enough. You did the right thing. People don't always agree with it, but if they were in that guy's shoes they'd sure as hell want to know. Not the idiot. I really don't understand what kind of women you know where so many of them would think this. I am a woman and I definitely think you had every right to tell him, and most of the women I know would think the same thing. I have a really hard time believing that so many women would hold this against you that you had to leave your job over it. I just can't fathom it. Most people are not going to treat someone who had been cheated on so badly like that. It's one thing if you had just been casually dating her, quite another when you two lived together and were talking marriage. Not the idiot. She shouldn't have cheated on two different guys. The other guy 100% deserved to know just as much as you did. I am female and I'm not sure what type of women you associate with, but they seem like morons. I would ask them if a guy was cheating on their female friend and the other woman didn't about it, would they still think it's wrong to tell the other woman and both ditch him? Chances are they would say it was just girls looking out for each other and be quite proud of it. Good on you, I hope she learned her lesson. What I thought would be a total non-issue has ballooned into a huge problem, and I'm up at 7:05 AM dealing with it. I figured while I wait for a text, I could post here to see if what I did was really that bad. I'm a big fat man, there's no way around it. I love to eat, which probably borders on addiction, but I figure since I'm only hurting myself, it's probably better to just live my life. I have some great friends, although there is no doubt I'm the harmless funny token fat guy of the otherwise pretty good looking group. I guess that sets the stage enough. Last night my friend hosted UFC, and I was invited. He got a 6-foot party sub. I also brought homemade wings that are sort of my specialty. Well, of course, people flocked to the food and I had basically one serving of the sandwich, but people devoured my wings and I didn't get to have a single one. Which is totally fine, that's why I brought them, but maybe an hour later I was starving. I kept eyeing the sandwich, and I'd say there were about 3 feet of it left. I waited an hour, then another half hour, and no one had touched it, but they were still munching on chips, pretzels, and whatnot. So I was like, screw it. I took about half of what was left and ate it. Then the last half sat for another 10 or 15 minutes, and no one said anything, so ate the rest. Well, to be sure, as I was swallowing the last bite, the host's girlfriend asked where the sandwich was. Like I was the guilty party, pretty much everyone pointed at me. I guess they'd noticed me eating the sandwich. She was furious and said that I was an incredible pig and that I had been super selfish to eat 3 feet of a sandwich. I felt so bad. I tried to explain to her that I really did wait over an hour and thought people had lost interest. I also tried to explain how everyone had eaten my wings, and she said something along the lines of, "You brought them to share, Alan. If someone had eaten over half by themselves, that's not freaking sharing, is it?" I offered to order pizza or even go get Subways, and she said that it was a pathetic offer because the party sub had been from a local shop owned by her friends. I said I was sorry, but the night was so tense from then on out. I woke up this morning to several texts from my twin sisters, the host's girlfriend's best friends, saying that I had to get myself under control and that everyone is really mad at me and that I embarrassed myself last night. I tried to explain to them what my mindset had been and they haven't responded. Was I the idiot for eating that much of the sandwich last night? You're the idiot. Eat before you go to a party so you don't do that again. I'm also a heavy eater. I'd never even consider eating that much of something at a party or get together. Letting it sit for an hour doesn't mean anything. Others might have just been waiting to grab it after the fight. You said in a comment you polished it off during the fight. The wings prove the point. You were bummed that others ate all the wings and you didn't get a chance to have any, just like the people complaining about the sandwich they brought. Everyone's the idiot here. You were wrong to have almost all of the party sub. It was selfish. The host's girlfriend should not have shouted at you. She caused a scene and made things uncomfortable. Your offer to order more food was a good enough apology for getting carried away with the sub. It may well be the case that you do this often and your friends are all a bit sick of it. Shouting at you and causing a scene is not the way to bring it up, but it might be worth considering that your behavior around food might be a source of irritation in your group. You're the idiot. Wings are cheap. A 6-foot sub isn't. You ate over half. That was their special midnight snack or breakfast. Their response was poor as it was emotional. As you know, it is really frustrating when you want to eat something, you wait until you are ready, then it's not available. Being large can inconvenience everybody in your life. But it doesn't have to. Think of how you affect others with your issues, try to mitigate the inconvenience you cause, and people will love you for your compassion. My daughter Molly, 13, plays football, that's English football or soccer by the way, for a team, and they train every Sunday. She has been playing for years but has only been with this team for a few months. Molly loves football and is very talented, and her coach Chelsea is very pleased with her. However, on the team, there are a group of 5 girls who don't like Molly. They all go to the same school, and their parents all know each other, and as often happens with teenage girls, it gets quite cliquey and territorial. This group sees themselves as the real team and pretty much only works with each other during matches and doesn't support anyone who isn't in their group. Molly has been told by this group that she isn't welcome. The worst of them is a girl called Amy. A talented player, but really dislikes Molly for some reason. She has made Molly cry before and has only gotten worse after being told by Chelsea to tone the mean girl stuff down. The day was a big match and Molly scored what turned out to be the winning goal. What should have been a happy day turned bad when Molly came out of the locker room in tears, saying that Amy and her friends had hidden her stuff and that Amy had told her she was useless and only on the team because Chelsea felt sorry for her. Chelsea found the stuff and had a word with Amy and her mum, saying that any more bullying would result in her being kicked off the team. This made Amy cry, and Amy's mum then had a go at me, saying Molly needs to grow up and accept what she calls typical girls teasing each other. I know the difference between teasing and bullying, and as an adult, she should too. The thing is that if Amy gets kicked out, her gang of bullies will still be there, and I can't imagine it would be much fun for Molly if it was there. Chelsea has said that she'd be willing to kick out Molly's group as well if they cause trouble, as enough girls are trying to get a place on the team to replace them. But I feel like that would cause problems down the line, especially with the other parents. Molly spent most of the day crying, and due to that, I am thinking of pulling her out of the team. She loves football and is good at it, but if she's leaving something that she's supposed to be having fun in tears, then we have a problem. We can find her another team since there are loads out there. The only problem is that I feel like if I pull her out, she may come out feeling like she was the problem and that she's being punished even though she's the victim, especially since Chelsea is willing to deal with the bullies once and for all, so it feels like we are letting them and their parents win. Molly does have friends on the team and would miss them if she's made to leave by me. You would be the idiot if you pull her out when she doesn't want to be. Let the bully brats face the consequences of their actions, and perhaps your daughter will become good friends with the newer girls brought onto the team too. If the parents have a problem with their kids getting kicked off the team, that's their problem for not disciplining or teaching their children to not be bullies. You wouldn't be having this problem in the first place if they were good people who you should care about. You would be the idiot, as you've mentioned in some replies, she doesn't want to leave. You taking her out teaches her that she's the problem, and once things go bad, she should avoid the issue. It also teaches her and the other girls that they can get what they want when they act this way. The other girls need to be taught a lesson, and if that results in them being kicked off the team, then so be it. Stand up for your daughter. Use this as a chance to show her you are on her side and will fight for her. It'll show her that she can rely on you and go to you for support. You would be the idiot. Speaking strategically here, you are in a great place to have a coach willing to kick Amy and all of the bullies off of the team, as well as having a situation already set up where the next time for Amy, and the time after that for the bullies, they are gone. If you pull your daughter out, think of what someone else's daughter is going to have to go through. This will make the team as a whole a more friendly environment, and everyone will have more fun. You would be a fool to pass up this opportunity. My wife and I have 2 kids, Christopher, 9, and Sadie, 12. For Chris's birthday, last Friday, my wife and I decided to get him a dog, which he has been asking for since he could talk, and we feel he's finally responsible enough to walk and feed a dog himself. My wife and I decided to adopt an older dog, not a puppy, and a medium-sized dog, and preferably a girl dog, because I've heard they have better temperaments. Other than that, it was up to me to pick one at the Humane Society, and when I got there, I immediately fell in love with a sweet 30-pound pit mix with beautiful green eyes. When I saw her name was Sadie like our daughter, I thought it was a sign that she belonged with our family. My wife thought the coincidence was funny when I told her, too, which is important. So I arranged the adoption, and the shelter agreed we'd pick her up last Friday after a birthday dinner for Chris. I pretended we were stopping at another place in the plaza and went inside and came out with dog, Sadie. Both kids were thrilled, but Chris was the happiest I'd ever seen him, and everything was perfect until I told them her name. My daughter Sadie instantly said it was super embarrassing to have the same name as the dog and immediately insisted that Chris change Sadie's name. She kept trying to make him promise, but she was already spoiling the birthday gift before we even left the parking lot, so I told her we'd talk about it later. Well, this week has been hellish. Chris is insistent we keep Sadie's name because she's 4 years old and has had that name her whole life. He says you wouldn't rename a 4-year-old person, and I think he has a point. I also think it's cute and funny that they have the same name. My daughter for some reason is mortified by this and won't even interact with me, her brother, or the dog. My wife, who thought it was cute at first, now says she sees Sadie's point and thinks we need to change the dog's name. I put my foot down because this is Chris's birthday present and his choice. Am I the idiot for not wanting to change the dog's name? You're the idiot. By having the same name as a dog, you're basically telling your daughter she's no more important to you than the dog is. You need to make sure you're giving your daughter the right message. Chris is a little boy and thinks it's funny that his sister is now being demeaned in this way. If your daughter Sadie feels like it's embarrassing, you should respect her enough to call the dog something different. She feels like you're giving her the message that she is as important to you as a dog is. You are the idiot. All you keep replying is about what your 9-year-old son wants and ignoring your daughter's feelings entirely. It was a mistake to give this dog to your son without changing the name or guiding your son to understand it wouldn't in any way be cruel to give the dog a cute nickname to help any confusion. I also am feeling a gender bias, and this situation may end up putting a strain on your relationship with your daughter, but they put the new Sadie first. You're the idiot. I don't even have to explain why if it was a normal person. But since you are a special case, let me just say it is extremely demeaning and insulting for your daughter, especially at her age. Her confidence would take a hit. You are just allowing others to roast her on a platter. And your boy is 9. Trust me when I say this. He will make use of the dog's name to get back at his sister during sibling fights. Get yourself a pet donkey and give it your name. Let's see how you deal when friends, family, and the neighborhood start making jokes at your expense. I'm 27 and my sister is 26. We were close growing up, but as my sister got into her teens she got into partying, trying new substances, negative attention from boys, guys wanting to spend big money on her, the works. She didn't slow down over time in terms of checking in with her mental health, assessing her actions, etc. She grew more and more distant from me, becoming aggressive and hostile. She hated our parents all of a sudden. My mom and dad begged her to go to therapy and even paid big money for her to be seen and booked appointments for her, but she never showed. She had 3 kids with 2 men we'd never even met by 22, which she dumped on my parents after being away from home for so long that we didn't even know she was pregnant. She blamed them because they never gave her an exciting enough life, despite the trips to Disneyland every 3 years and money they spent on us for extracurricular activities. She went to North Carolina for a while, then came back into our lives. My parents insisted that she go into therapy. She's been going for the past 2.5 years and is really on the up. Recently she started to go out again as she feels ready for the dating scene. She met a guy on a Christian dating app of all places and went out on a few dates with him. She came back happy the first time, but the second time she was upset. She told me that she confessed to him that she had 3 babies. He said, "Oh wow, that's a lot. You never told me." I'm sorry, that information changes a lot because I'm not willing to be with someone who has 3 kids already at the age of 26. There was a scene, her words, at the restaurant and she accused him of shaming her, mom shaming her, that he wasn't even giving her a chance, that she deserved better, etc. She said when she told him the kids had 2 different dads, he had an uncomfortable look on his face. To compound the issue, she went on Facebook and wrote a lengthy rant dishonestly, in my view, accusing him of being a misogynist and tagged him in it, which obviously employers and future girlfriends might be like, what? I told my sister as gently as I could that he wasn't shaming her, her choices were simply incompatible with his goals. The info I've written about what he said is verbatim what my sister told me, none of that sounds shamey to me. I told her there were plenty of great guys out there who would love to be a part of her life story, but there are also going to be people put off by the fact that she's got 3 kids, and that's okay. They're allowed to be. I said this only knowing that she's been in therapy for over 2 years now, and I felt close enough to her again that I could speak truthfully. I didn't intend to hurt her. My sister reacted horribly and told me that I was also an easy girl shaming her because she has 2 baby daddies, that there's nothing wrong with it. I just stayed quiet as it's obviously a sore topic for her, but I also don't think she's being fair to this other guy. Not the idiot. Both you and the guy weren't shaming her. It is a fact that some guys are not comfortable or just plain do not want to choose a life partner who already have kids or have had many partners prior. Well, it's true that it's her body, her choice, those choices also do come with consequences. Some people, men and women alike, are not interested in being step-parents. Your sister clearly isn't ready to date if she's not able to take rejection in her stride. Her reaction to both his and your feedback is frankly not healthy. Not the idiot. Clearly your sister has a long way left to go. I mean, she met dude on Christian dating app, he wasn't shaming her, but some Christians have some serious beliefs about making love before marriage and multiple partners. A relative of mine was recently dumped by an uber Christian guy because she had a kid 17 years ago. It sounds more like she's gender or religion shaming him, to be honest. You also sound like a really kind and thoughtful sibling, and I wish you the best in the recovery of your relationship with your sister.